Are you looking for a podcast where you can hear from real people regarding their real dental drama? If so, then you've come to the right place. Join hosts Bethany Petty and Dr. Reena Kuba as we dive into the solutions we've created and the mistakes we've made while managing dental drama. Let's get started.
So we just talked quite a bit about bonuses in our last podcast, and as we're talking, I'm like, we're going to run out of time because when we started that episode, you had just had a week of pretty much every client you came into contact with was asking you about bonuses. And then I monopolized that entire conversation about me and my office and my bonuses. So I want to make sure we get time to talk about some of the other bonus ideas and concepts. And I do want to talk because this is managing dental drama. And so the other benefit of bonuses when you get to pull those bonuses. And so, right? Like, which it brings me no joy. It's very stressful, but it has also been very key. And, you know, when I do feel like I am trapped and going, you know, you want this, but you don't want that, but you're not going to do this, but no, ma'am. I do have something that I can take away from you.
Yeah.
And that's where the bonuses come in. So we've had, a big issue in our office. Was it last week or the week before? It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
And my hair was on fire. And so we could talk about that. And then even just yesterday, what an employee pulled. And, you know, it just...
We needed a consequence.
Yeah. And so...
It's such a valuable thing for all the positives that we talked about in our last podcast of the bonus. There's also, as horrible as it sounds to say it, there's also a really good negative aspect of the bonus in that we can give that, and that's a positive thing, and we can take that away. And there are times or even seasons where that needs to go away. And that has been an incredibly effective management tool that we've utilized in your practice. Other clients that I've had that have pulled a bonus away or taken a bonus away from an underperforming employee. So it's hard in I would imagine in any industry to have disciplinary or punitive act. It's like, what is our recourse, really? Let me have this verbal coaching with you. Let me write it up. I'm going to put that in your HR file. Well, what's next? Our options are firing you based on the office policy manual, or I don't know, do we just live with this continual repetitive issue? So I love the ability to be able to use a bonus as a management tool to be able to pull. So
it's like, again, back to kids. Well, no tablet time this week. You didn't listen to this. Like, I'm not going to get rid of my child, right? Like, it's so easy to say, I'm just going to get rid of this employee, especially in this market. Can't do that anyway. No. But what is the... What extra tool do I have? And that's where we've utilized this quite a bit. Yeah. Do you want to talk first about your other client strategies and ideas, or do you want to jump into this and then circle back? I think let's
jump into this first, and then I'll try to circle back. We'll try to end on a positive note. How about that?
Yes, excellent.
We won't end on disciplinary action. So I want to talk about the two situations. There's a lot that we could talk about in situations where we've pulled this, but I want to talk about the situation yesterday that came up with the particular employee, and then when we've done that with other employees. So in other words, I want to give our listeners a framework for understanding when we might pull a bonus, because I don't want when I say pull a bonus, take it away is what I mean. So I don't want taking away a bonus to be so consistent and pervasive that people think they're never getting a bonus. I would rather the bonus feel like it's so consistent and so predictable that, man, it hurts when it's actually taken away. And I feel like that is a balance that we've been able to strike in your practice. So can you talk about the situation that happened with the individual employee?
Yes. And so I'm glad you said that, because it's not just, well, if you don't do this, you don't get a bonus. No, it's reserved, because, again, my philosophy is I want you to get the bonus.
Yes.
Because it's a positive culture thing. It keeps you motivated. And looking at the big picture, it helps the practice. Yes, I'm giving you a little bit, but look at what all I gained from it. And so if I don't have that and you constantly think your bonus is being pulled, then why would you try to help?
Yeah.
So the goal is not to always punish, but it is just one extra thing that I feel like I have a little bit of control over. So the thing that frustrated me it was really disappointing, disheartening, maddening. But we have an employee who's been, I just sent a text out on Sunday or Monday congratulating her for making it to 5 years. She hit her 5-year anniversary in the practice. I think she's the 3rd person to do that, or the 4th in the history of the practice. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And we're just coming off of Thanksgiving break. Yesterday morning, I'm sitting at work, and then one of my team leads comes in and she says, "Oh, this employee texted me at 1 a.m. saying she's not coming into work today." And so I looked at her and I said, "Okay, well, why?" And the team lead said, "Well, apparently she was at the airport all day on Monday and didn't get home till, midnight or whatever time it was. And so she's too tired, so she's not going to come in." If that doesn't make me want to punch someone in the face, and when I say that, I'm planning heart and soul into my Christmas party. We talked about that in a couple of podcasts now, and in the last one. And so that's coming up on Friday. So today's Wednesday. It's coming up day after tomorrow. And I'm treating you, and we're doing a nice lunch, and we're doing all these things. And you don't have the audacity to show up on Monday. Now, to be honest, to me, I kind of was like, good, because the schedule didn't look that busy, that I was like less overhead. But to me, it was the way she did it. This very entitled. So where I look at it going, okay, honestly, it kind of helps the practice that you're not here and I don't have to pay you for the day when we probably didn't really need you. It made everybody work a little bit harder, but that was fine. Nobody was beat up at the end of the day. But the point is we very well could have been. And what bothers me about this is I'm just not coming in.
Yeah.
Well, so you ruled the roost here? You ruled the whole house? You're going to tell me when you're going to show up? No, ma'am. Like, I have a problem with that. My associate had a problem with just the stupidity of it all. He's like, she could have he's like, not that I'm encouraging lying, but she could have been smarter about it. And so that's annoying that you're so dumb that you couldn't figure out the right way to do this. Like, that's annoying. But more to the point, it's you're picking and choosing your schedule. You have no regard. You have no idea. Maybe 2 other people are out sick. Maybe we added all these patients. Like, you just don't know. And you're just saying, I just choose not to come in. So basically, it's your piss poor planning. Who told you to come back on Monday? You should have come back on Sunday. If you were a responsible adult, you would have planned that such that you're there.
Yeah.
Or if you don't make it in till 3 a.m., say the flight got canceled. There's a lot of unknowns with flights.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's why you plan to come back Sunday, not Monday.
Exactly.
But you chose to come back Monday. Why are you still not at the office?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you made it back in at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
Park your car in the lot and take a nap in the parking lot. Run to Walmart and grab some socks and underwear. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's choices you made that didn't work out well. And now your poor choices are going to affect the entire team. And to me, it's all about setting a precedent. And so now you're allowed to do it. And so then we look at the rest of the team. So in and of itself, it probably doesn't seem like that big a deal. But it is because of all of the aforementioned things I just said.
Well, and also there had been some, from our kind of team lead, there had been some communication to this employee first thing that morning, no responses from her throughout the whole day. And then 1 a.m., it was just a very matter of fact, I'm not coming in. There wasn't an I'm sorry or, of course she's not expecting any kind of communication dialogue between our team lead because it's 1 a.m. when she's texting. So that leaves our team lead in a predicament of she has no leverage because by the time our team lead wakes up and sees that text message, this employee that just flew in is going to be snoozing nice and hard and is not going to see anything. So there's literally there was no option for us to do anything. She made her decision. She stated it. That was that. We had to deal with the consequences.
And I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
That's back to again, you've got me by the balls and no, ma'am, you do not. I don't like being put in that position. I also think it's ridiculously rude to text at midnight when your flight gets in. Like, that's inappropriate. So the fact that you have no regard for anybody else. So it really just doesn't sit well with me, given especially that we just congratulated you on your 5-year. And anyway, so now I'm going, what do I do with this? So, it happened to be a day that you were coming in to the office to run reports and pull things. So you, me, and my associate are sitting there going, well, what do we do with this? what do I do with this? And so what did I do with it? I think I sent her a text and I said, hey, just heard you're not coming in today. And I would really hate for you to have to lose your November bonus for not coming in. I'd get here as soon as possible. Because in November, we just came off Thanksgiving, where we were bustling at the seams. Like, yeah, the rest of the month was kind of useless, but those 3 days make up for the rest of the month. It was quite busy. So I know we're going to hit bonus. So is it really worth it to you to not show up? You know it's going to be a slow day. Get your ass out of bed and come just putz along and pretend, for the love of God.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like your cocky attitude is what is getting me really my panties in a twist right now. And if it's worth it to you to lose the $300 you just made on Thanksgiving bonus. Now, if you'd listened to the last podcast, there's actually 3 bonuses. So this particular employee, when we say, you're not going to get your November bonuses, I left it vague. Like, what does that mean? Because am I pulling all 3 bonuses? Am I pulling some of the bonuses? And frankly, I don't know. I kind of wanted to see her response and how quickly she could get there. So chances are we have our baseline bonus that we talked about. So that's $200. Chances are we pulled and she made at least $100, but usually it's a lot more than that. But let's lowball it and say it was only $100. So there's $300 on the line. The third bonus we have is the new patient bonus, and she's a back employee and she's not good on the phone, so we don't really let her be on the phones much. So let's say her new patient bonus would have been 0.
Right.
So now she's looking at $300. Or if we didn't pull, let's suppose we had a dismal November, we didn't have any days where we hit bonus. So it's really down to $200. Still, $200. You're willing to forego $200 because you can't get your ass to work because you piss poor management of your time? Like, that's a really dumb decision as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And we're really limited. Let's say we didn't have the bonuses to pull from her or to take from her. What do you do in that situation? I mean, your hands are really tied as far as a consequential thing. Like, oh, yeah, I'm going to have a talking to with her. I'm going to tell her that's just unacceptable. Okay. What's going to actually prevent her from doing that again? And that's where there's a tangible consequence that's going to be applied in this situation, which is the loss of bonus.
Right. And so, that's where we've pulled it. In times. This is where I like, because I can't withhold your pay because that's illegal, even though I want to a lot of times. And what else, like, to your point, what else am I supposed to do at that point?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's the parent that's kind of like your kid's running and you have no recourse. And I do not like to be bullied in my own office.
Yeah. And we've used this with individuals, not just this individual, but different individuals on your team. So I can think of one person that was having consistency issues with coming to work. There was a sick kid, there was my car's not working, there was always something popping up, and it became too consistent in that we didn't know whether she was going to be there or not. And so we had a coaching conversation with her, and we said, hey, we understand life's hard right now. You got a lot of stuff going on. The bonus is really meant to be kind of extra and on top for those that are really going above board. Right now, we're going to take that away until we can see some consistency out of you. Once we can see consistency, we'll be happy to pull that bonus back into play for you. What we don't want to see from you is a lack of effort. If you're here, you're not. We want to see you continuing to rally and try to help the team meet those goals. But until we see improvement, you're not going to get that. So there wasn't a timeline. It was just, we're pulling it until we can see that you've improved.
And for her, the key difference being, if she was a terrible employee all the way around, because usually I don't put up with lateness or inconsistency, or I'm not coming in today, like that's usually. Now, this employee in particular is, she does have tough home life stuff. On the other hand, am I going to sink my whole ship because of your tough life? Like, there's got to be a line somewhere. And then a lot of your tough life, yes, you've got a tough life, but you also make terrible decisions. And so at some point where I can empathize with you as a person, the other part of me goes, I'm not making those poor decisions.
Right.
You are. So deal with the consequences.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, then we get affected. So, but when she comes to work, is she the employee that busts it? Yes, she is. Is she the one that brings attitude? 0. Is she the person that can take feedback? 1,000%. Is she the person that will do anything you ask her to do? Does she create drama? Not at all.
Right.
Other than the drama of not being there. But once she's there,
she's a delight.
she's a delight. So yes. So then to me, it's, what do I do with you? Do I decrease your pay? Do I cut you down to part-time? Either one of those things, you're going to leave altogether. Which, again, 5 years ago may not have been a problem. But now, what's so hard to get employees, I got to be really careful about shooting my own self in the foot. And that worked out great, because then for her, it was like, shoot, that's a minimum of $200 extra that I'm not making. And with your lifestyle, you need that $200. Like, that's critical in paying your rent. Maybe you are going to make better choices in figuring out how you're going to get to work.
Right. And it worked. She was able to, rebound and show and prove that she could be there consistently. We were happy to reinstate her bonus, and it worked well. It still was a productive conversation, but there was a tangible outcome for her, or a disciplinary action that made sense to her, and we were able to communicate that to her, and then we were able to restore it, which was really nice. This also happened with an employee. We had asked her to complete some training and didn't do it. There was this delay. There was always some reasons. And so we, in that particular situation, again, she was showing up. There was nothing else performance-wise going on, but we had made our expectation really clear. You need to complete this training, and we need it to get done. And it just wasn't happening. So she was not achieving something that we asked her to do. Therefore, she was underperforming. And so we withheld the bonus for that particular employee as well. And again, it worked. Next thing we know, she had the training done. We were able to restore the bonus to her. So I think we've used that in a variety of ways, but it's usually more individually focused when we pull the bonus until...
Well, and real quick before I get to that, I think the other key for us has been, when we have a new hire in the 90-day probationary period, what we're trying to see, like, say somebody said, well, I really want to be making, $15 an hour. Well, to me, I'm going to start you at 14, depending on, like, if during your work interview and what you've said, but you're sitting there going, oh no, I manage the schedule. I'm like, but you don't know dentistry, so you're going to have a big learning curve with that. Oh, I worked at a general office where we saw a lot of kids. True, but you didn't do sedation, so you know nothing about sedation. You're going to have to learn all of that too. So for me, it's, well, I'm starting you at 14, or fine, I'll start you at your 15, because that's what you need to pay your bills. You're making a parallel move. You make 15 at your other office. You want to work in this office. I'll keep you parallel. But as we're getting closer to the 90 days, I start looking at you and looking at your performance going, well, at the end of this 90 days, you're actually not going to be making 15, because by the time you add in the minimum of the 200 baseline bonus,
it's like $1.60 extra an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're really going to be at 16 something per hour. And are you performing at a $16 an hour person? Do I see enough progress and growth and motivation? And honestly, we just had it where we had 2 employees that started at the same time. And one of them, who had no dental background whatsoever, but she has shown far more progress and consistency. And the other one who'd been in dental before, but I'm like, you've learned nothing. Like, it's all we can do for you to sterilize the instruments the right way. So I'm not sure exactly what you were doing in your other office, but we let that one go at, 40 days. So not even halfway, she'd been a monthish, maybe halfway through the probationary period. But I was like, there's no way. She's got far more escalating to do, because at the 90-day, her rate actually jumps up quite a bit more. And I don't think she's worth it. Right. I don't think she's worth that dollars. Yeah. So bye-bye.
Which is helpful to think about it from that perspective, because it forces you to evaluate, is this person truly valuable on the team? Because once they pass that 90-day point, there's a lot of value we throw at them monetarily in the way of bonuses. So it's a good way to weed out those that don't make the cut.
And it's a good way to focus that 90 days to say, hey, this is what you should be learning here. Then by this point, you should be learning these tasks. And then by this point, you should be doing this. And so it makes that 90 days very productive for us, and really watching that person. How motivated are you? Because if you're not, I think that's the other thing with new hires. It's so hard to train the person. It's so hard to be shorthanded. And now you're expecting this person to do things. And I think a lot of us don't have a really clear cut goal, training, whatever policy for that person. And like 8 months in, you're still wallowing around going, wait, this is not what I was hoping for this person in this position. And it really forces you to focus and make sure that you're doing everything you can to make sure this person's successful and that you're giving them quality feedback. That's the other thing. I know I never did. It's like we'd hire a person and then like 8 months in, the person's like, well, no, I didn't know this or I didn't know that. And I'm like, damn it, that's my fault because I never told you. Because it's hard to have this confrontation and that. Yeah. But this forces you to go, nope, we have it on paper. This is where you are. It makes it very objective rather than subjective. And that person themselves can know why you are or aren't hiring them.
Exactly.
It makes it very clear for all. So it makes it very clear from the workforce commission. Mm-hmm. These were the goals. This is where they achieved. This is where they didn't achieve, which is why we didn't proceed with the hiring.
Exactly.
So I really like the bonuses for that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now talking about the other incident I talked about. Mm-hmm. So we've, like you said,
is it the first time that we've done a collective takeaway?
I think we've done a collective takeaway for a department.
Okay.
Like for the assistants, you guys are consistently not getting this checklist done. And that led to this, and this issue. Yeah. You guys need to work together, communicate together, get your systems done together, because this is where the rest of the office is affected by your lack of organization or whatever it is. So collectively as an assistant pool, you guys are not getting bonuses until this is met. But this was an office-wide thing. I don't recall that we've ever done it before.
When it was happening, I was like, I don't think that we've ever done a full like the whole office, you've lost your bonus.
Yeah.
So.
And again, we don't want it to be a threat all the time. It needs to be a one-off.
Well, how many years have we been doing this? And that was the first time. Yeah. So it's very, very rare.
Sparingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the one that missed 5 years. I don't think we've ever withheld her bonus. We did with the assistant
pool.
Yeah, but that was probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So it hasn't happened in a while.
But I think that's important to show that this is very rare. Like we're talking about all of these examples all together, but it's very, very rare. So it means a lot when it actually happens.
Yes. And what I try to tell them when I say this, and we just had this talk yesterday, you guys tell me what you would do if you were in my shoes. Because I know you're sitting there having a pity party and a bee fest and we work for a bee, but I want your feedback on what you would do if you were in my shoes. Yeah. And so, because I try to tell them again, this is bonus. Bonus is extra. Bonus is not required by the law for me to give you a bonus.
Right.
So why would you earn a bonus? Why would you take your kid out for ice cream Sundays? Well, you made an A on this test, or you cleaned your room without me asking you to. But if you were just barely doing and I had to push you to get something done, why would I take you out for ice cream after? And so I tried to remind them of that, saying, you're not owed a bonus. That's just out of the kindness of my heart that I want to share and motivate you. Yes, I get a lot out of the bonus too. It's a win-win for both.
Right.
But if you are being a headache, would you, if your kid is being a headache, would you take them out for ice cream? For you having to beg, it doesn't make sense. So I need you guys to understand that. So I do have to revisit that conversation. But what happened 2 weeks ago, so I have to, because I think we just did it this year where we started paying the separate bonus check, because otherwise it was put on their normal bi-monthly checks. It was always on their second check. And we switched it because I wanted them to appreciate the bonus more, the value of the bonus more. And so I then going, oh, shoot, I've just made more work for myself because now I got to submit payroll another time. So I was like, I'm going to forget to do that. How could I not forget? Let's put these systems in place. I've made myself a reminder, but I've had the team go in and put events in Dentrix to remind me, to send me an email reminder. Well, we'd already been having an issue with the team with other events on the schedule. So that's how I don't know how other offices have their reminder system, but for us, we put an event on. And what you're supposed to do, like if it says attention back office, somebody has taken the time to remind you guys that you need to run the sterilization test, or you need to change the water lines, or whatever it is you need to do, right? So we don't trust you to do it on your own. We have a checklist. We've got all of that, but I still don't trust you because something always slips through the crack. So this is yet another reminder so that everybody in the office sees this. And hopefully the front is saying, hey, back team, did you remember to do this? Because there's this event floating around in Dentrix. You're supposed to turn the event gray once it's been done. So events could be call the 1 week post IV calls, call the sedated patients from today. Don't forget to check the batteries on the AED. Don't forget to whatever. So it's a variety of things that we all need to be held accountable for. And the whole point of putting an event is that somebody will see it and remind somebody. So just the week before, we'd already had an incident where something was missed through the cracks. Then we had another one where the event was on a Monday for an RDA. Well, our RDAs don't come in on Monday. What did this employee do? Oh, RDA is not here. Let me move the event. And she put it on the next Monday. As we all had this moment of irritation going, use your brain, sweet pea.
Yeah.
You put it on a Monday and now you put it on another Monday. Well, what's the problem with that? This person's never here on Monday.
Right.
Does it make sense to put this event on a Monday? So we're having to have those conversations. So it got to the point where the week before in team meeting at 6:45 a.m., I'm talking about the importance of this event and how anybody should be able to look at the event and help somebody. If it's something you can do it. And then if it's not something you can do, can you make sure that that department gets wind? Can you make sure that that team member has the opportunity to make sure that the sterilizer spore test is working fine?
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Do you all understand that the office will have to shut down and impact everybody? You will be sent home. Yes, front desk team member who is the receptionist, you will be affected if the spore test isn't working.
Right.
You can't seem to understand that, but this is how so it was just made a huge deal about how events need to be addressed. They need to be grayed out. They need to be done. Okay. So it was a week before. So now we're in the following week. And I was in the office, I think, one day. And then Wednesday, I was doing something. Thursday, I wasn't in the office for something else. And Friday, I wasn't in the office for something else. So that was it. Tuesday was my last day in the office. So,
which is, again, all represented on the calendar. So it's not like on Wednesday, you're like, I'm not going to come in. Thursday, I'm not going to come in. It was clear on the schedule.
So on Wednesday, there's an orange event that says RK and my associate are out at Baylor. So we were guest lecturing on Wednesday for the residents on Wednesday. That's been in the schedule since probably July. Right under that was the event in yellow that said RK submit bonus. Well, I'm not in the office. All of you know I'm not in the office because one, you know I was there. You didn't see me in the office. But two, ding, 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 there's an event right above that says RK out teaching. So for some reason you weren't in the office on Wednesday, so you didn't know if I was there or not. You could come in Thursday, look at Wednesday and go, oh, Kuba wasn't here yesterday because there's an event right there telling you that I wasn't there, right? So that was Wednesday. Thursday, I can't remember what I was doing. But it was something that had been pre-planned, like something I was going to go do.
Yeah.
And anyway, come Sunday night, I'm sitting there at 9:00 Sunday night of that week, and I'm, sitting there with my husband. We're eating dinner, watching a show, and all of a sudden I was like, I think, is this the third Tuesday coming up? Where are we? So I pull out my calendar. I'm like, shoot, it is the third Tuesday. I didn't submit the bonus. Damn it. Damn it. Right around Thanksgiving and Christmas, I dropped the ball. I didn't read my reminders. Where did I miss this, right? Then I paused and I went, wait a minute. I don't remember getting a reminder email either. So double check that. Now I have two emails, right? I got my personal email and then I got my Outlook email for the office stuff. So check both. The last notice that I have to submit payroll was for the week before, for the biweekly payroll. So nobody reminded me to submit this bonus. And I went, that's my check system. Is for me, first and foremost, I should leave myself a reminder. Well, for some reason, I missed that. But my next safety net
yes,
is an event. So there I am. I'm like, hit pause. I got to get the computer up. I got to log into the system. Let's see if somebody did remind me or not remind me. Well, of course, the internet's not working at that moment. So my husband has to, whatever. So there's this big hoo-ha Sunday night trying to figure out this stupid bonus thing. Finally get it working. Look up bright yellow event is still. And I make the point to say bright yellow because to me, I'm like, how do you miss that?
Right.
Anybody in the entire office should have seen that there's a yellow event. Yeah. If that's not catching your eye, I guess where I'm really ticked about it is that could have been the note that said, change out the AED battery.
Right.
And by not doing that, you've put the entire office at liability. What if it's your grandma that's in the building bringing your kid to the office and she's the one who has a heart whatever.
And the AED
doesn't
dead.
work. You want that for your grandma? No. So don't do it for our patient's grandma either.
Yeah.
But that to me, it's like, no, there's an event for a reason, and we just went over it. We just talked about the importance of events and how everything needs to be grayed out and how you need to. When I say grayed out, like changing the color from yellow to gray, because gray in our office is the symbol that something's done and taken care of, right? So it could be call in the Valium for tomorrow's patient. It could be
anything critical to patient care.
Patients waiting on an estimate to make sure, like it's important. And so the fact that all of you ignored it when it was yellow. Mm-hmm. All of you ignored it when I just talked about it. Mm-hmm. So I was really pissed at the entire team. Really, it boils down to the 2 front desk people who've been underperforming for a long time now. Yeah. So that was the other thing I had to take in consideration because I was like, well, my team leads, who are always the go-getters, they always have the highest bonuses. I was like, I know these people are counting on their money.
Yeah.
They're not going to get it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, am I really going to push this at this critical time where they're already pissed at the front desk? Mm-hmm. Because we just had a team lead meeting, I think the week before or whatever. Yeah. So I know they're pissed at the front desk because the front desk isn't doing this and isn't doing this and didn't follow up with that. And it's the front desk that's supposed to be the one sending me that email.
Yeah.
I was like, do I really want the entire office glaring at that front desk and going, you cost me my bonus this month? Yes, I do.
Yes.
I'm going to stir the drama. Talk about stirring the drama pot. Yes, I am. They need to feel that heat from their teammates because everybody in the office knows it needs to be those 2 who send that reminder email, and they're the 2 who didn't do it.
Yeah.
So none of you got your bonus check right around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I tell you, bonus checks for each person, I think the lowest amount was $450. The highest amount was, I think, $800, $900.
Massive.
Mm-hmm. The people are waiting on their checks. And so then I was like, I want to see if anybody even notices. Because frankly, it's those 2. But we just talked about this. Hygienist, you're there. How come you didn't address the yellow event? Team leads, y'all are there too. Mm-hmm. How come you didn't address the yellow event? Yeah. And I get your point. Do you have to do everything in the office? Maybe.
Yeah.
That's why you get paid the bucks you do. And that's why everybody else, like, I don't know what to tell you, but this could have been a patient's Valium. This could have been the compressor. This could have been something. It happens to be your own bonuses. Mm-hmm. And that to me is just mind-boggling and eye-opening. You're not going to take care of yourself? You're too lazy to even click and send me an email or a text reminding me to pay the bonus.
Right.
For you.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do for me this time. It's all for yourself. And so that to me, it's like, it's glaringly obvious that you guys are too lazy, too unaccountable, that you're not even going to pay for your own. Then I better be very mindful going, okay, well then you're not going to be accountable for anything I need you to do for me.
Right.
You take care of your own damn bonus.
Yeah.
So I waited. And I waited until that Tuesday, and sure enough, by 8:00, I had a text from my team lead that's works remote, and she said, "Hey, I think this is the Tuesday. Are you doing it next time, or did I miss it, or whatever?" That was her nice way of saying, "Kuba, you didn't pay me my bonus."
Yeah.
Well, I called her. I said, "Well, hey, I just saw your text, and I wanted to explain why there's no bonus. No, it's no error. Well, it's no error on my part. It's error on y'all's part." Because we just talked about all of this. And hey, go back to last Tuesday or last Wednesday. I was like, what do you see? That yellow event that nobody addressed? Nobody sent me a reminder. Mm-hmm. And I was out the whole week. And I've got other things I'm thinking about, just like y'all do. Because I've always made the threat of, for the people like, well, I didn't get around to doing this. I'm like, well, what if I don't get around to submitting your hours?
Yeah.
Is that okay? And so I always make that comment going, we're all busy, but I do what I need to do. I come up on a Sunday if I need to get hours. Like, you've got to be accountable for your stuff. Oh, well, I just didn't. Okay, well, legally, I can't do that, but I would love to. Well, I can now because I don't owe you a bonus.
Exactly.
Don't owe you. Okay, expletive. I don't owe you that. You got paid, but I don't have to pay you this bonus. I do that because I feel like it.
Right.
None of you reminded me. That tells me that you didn't want to get paid. Mm-hmm. So I moved on. Wasn't important to you, so wasn't important to me either. I moved on. Yeah. And I said, now here's the challenge that I'm up against, y'all. And this is a conundrum, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do about it. First of all, do I pay the bonus at all? None of y'all wanted it, right? Because you didn't remind me, so you didn't want it.
Until it was gone.
Right. So, but it's gone. Like, it's gone. I could just completely not give anybody a bonus. And Bethany, that makes me want to vomit for them. I know they're counting on this money. $800 something. I could just very easily go poof. Like, what a lesson that would teach. Mm-hmm. But again, I feel like that would be so almost too harsh.
Yeah.
I think that would be such a blow to culture. Mm-hmm. But it's totally on the table, and you better believe I considered it. Yeah. The next thing I think is, or what I told them, I said, well, here, if I do decide to pay the bonus, so I made sure to make that verbiage very well, out there. So if I do decide to pay the bonus, my conundrum is, well, that money's has been spent. Yeah. So do I turn around and pay it in December? Well, in December, my challenge is I've got to pay all the unused PTO. Mm-hmm. I've got to pay for paid vacation holiday, Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's. Yeah. So there's no extra funds. Like, we are watching the funds very carefully at the end of the year because we know we're about to be hit with all of this. Mm-hmm. And now you guys want me to come up with another $6,000 while I'm already dealing with all that. I don't have it. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure when I'm going to pay you this bonus. Yeah. Now, clearly none of y'all really needed it because nobody reminded me. So if I do decide to pay it, it may not be till February that you guys get your October bonus. And my team lead was like crickets on the other end of the line. I was like, the only person I could see that I could bonus now would be this one hygienist because she wasn't working that day. So she didn't have opportunity. But I believe every other person was working. And every other, i.e. you too, team lead. Yeah. Don't you, before you go, blazing guns at the front desk, you could have noticed this
too. The
too.
day ended with that still being yellow. Yeah. The day ended. People walked away with that event still being yellow.
And it's not a small event.
No.
It's gigantic. So I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I need to talk to Bethany and the accountant, and I will try to figure it out. But frankly, it's not at the top of my list right now. I've got Thanksgiving. This was, right before Thanksgiving. I was like, I got a whole week of family coming in, and I got stuff to plan. But I'm so glad this was not at the top of y'all's priority list, which means it doesn't have to be at the top of mine.
Right. We're all on the same page here.
Yeah. So, of course, my team lead, I'm sure, is going, you bleep, bleep, bleep. But she didn't say it. She was silent. She's like, okay. Well, are you going to make an announcement about it? I was like, hadn't planned to. What would you like me to say? Yeah. Do you need me to announce this? And she said, I was like, you're welcome to put it on the group me thread. Whatever y'all need to do. But no, it wasn't on anybody's mind, and now it's not on my radar. Any other questions? You good? Bye. I was a total bee about it. It was such a good moment. It was such a moment. Like, it makes me sick, but it makes me feel like I have...
Empowered.
Empowered.
Yes. Like, I had something to pull in this moment, and it's a logical consequence. This was already a hot button item, and then it just happened to fall into a category that impacted them. It's almost serendipitous. It's like, okay, maybe this needed to happen to be a wake-up call. And again, it is empowering. Think about if there wasn't anything, let's say it was the AED battery, and there's no bonuses in place, there's nothing. What do you do? What do you do? Just gripe and bellyache and how many times do I have to tell y'all to clear out the events and take care of that? Like, that's really the leverage that we have. Or fire the whole team and start all over with new ones that might pay better attention to the reminders. We really don't have a lot of power unless we've got something that we can take away.
And so the front desk person finally, like an hour later, we must have had team lead blowing up her phone and sending her messages. I would love to go back and look to see what she said to her. But here comes front desk person who's supposed to send the email. Dr. Kuba, we've just had, awkward question. We've had some people in the office come ask about the bonuses. And so I said, well, I'm glad you asked. Let me show you something. And so I went back to that Wednesday and I said, we just stared at the screen together. And she went, oh. Now, I don't know if she really knew what the O was or not, but it was silent and she filled it with an O. I said, yeah, so I didn't get a reminder. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't pay it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so then I had the same talk with her. I was like, I don't know when I'm going to pay it, but clearly it's not like super significant to you guys because nobody could bother to remind me. So thanks for that. But yeah, if people are wondering, just let them know that nobody reminded me.
Yeah.
So I didn't say you didn't remind me. I just said, nobody reminded me. So then eventually I pulled in one of our hygienists and 2 of the assistants, and I talked to them about it. And I said, you guys might be wondering why you fall into this. I'm telling you why you fall into this because I just talked to you guys about everybody taking care of everybody, and this is important. And all of you saw that, and none of you followed up on it.
Right.
So this is just another reminder. Yeah, like, is that your responsibility to send that email? Maybe not, but maybe.
Right.
Maybe it is. This is all of ours home. If the Valium doesn't get called in, we all get impacted by that. If the AED doesn't work and a patient dies because of it, we are all impacted by that. This time it happened to be your own bonus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Glad you guys shot yourselves in the foot.
Yeah. And everybody's responsible for that. And again, it's going to it has already sent a strong message out to the team. It was a message you were already preaching on, right? Don't forget. We keep missing these events. It happened to fall where they missed the bonus reminder event, which again is a safety net that you had built in. Now everybody's experiencing the same consequence, which really we haven't ever had before in the practice where we've applied it collectively across the board. So I think it is making an impact. Is it a negative impact right now? It feels like, oh my God, I just got a spanking, right? This does not feel good. It's a disciplinary action that doesn't make me happy. But is it causing, hopefully, a good positive outcome, which is we're not ever going to miss an event again on that schedule because it hurt us to miss it. So I think it's such a valuable thing. The reason you have that to pull is because you have a really good bonus plan in place. So this kind of brings us back to last podcast, all of the positives of a bonus for practices that don't have something in place. This is a great positive. It's a negative, but it's a positive because it gives you some control. It gives you some ability to impact behavior in employees. And it's something tangible. It is something that hurts when the employee is not performing up to standard that you can actually apply or take away from them. So I wanted to circle back on a couple of additional bonus ideas. So we talked about in the last podcast your 3 different bonuses. I want to circle back to, you brought up something that I wanted to dive into so much more in the last one, but we were out of time, which is the production bonus plans. We talked about how we've got the daily one. You mentioned collections. We've got to make sure that we're actually collecting on that. So I wanted to go back to, and you and I both kind of poo-pooed on this one, but it is a bonus strategy that a lot of people utilize, which is more of a monthly or quarterly or profit sharing type bonus. So the reason that you and I kind of dismissed it is I have found personally in consulting, and I think you've seen the result of it in your practice, that the daily tends to be more impactful because it monthly, for whatever reason, is just, it's hard to see how today is going to impact 3 weeks from now, whether or not I hit the bonus. So for an office that's really trying to just go, we want to grow and we want it to be an immediate impact, the best thing you can do is a daily bonus, because it focuses that team so solidly on today's schedule, and especially when it can consecutively build, it has an immediate impact. There's been very few practices that I've tried to roll out the daily bonus plan to that hasn't seen an immediate result to it. So it's going to be the most impacting. Let's say there's practices out there, though, that just don't need that. They're doing fine. Would it be nice to get a little bit of growth? Yeah. then we can actually look at more of a monthly or quarterly bonus, and then we can focus more on the collection side of things. So we've been talking profit sharing kind of in a different area in your practice, but profit sharing is what I would call it. So there's this certain monthly dollar amount that we have to make. It pays the rent, it pays the lights, it pays the supplies, it pays the lab, it pays the associates, it pays the doctors. Once every bill has been paid, this is the number we have to have. And then everything on top of that is gravy. And then we profit share out of the gravy. We don't profit share out of the money we need to pay the bills. So maybe that's $50,000. I got to have $50,000 every month to pay myself, to pay my team, to cover all the bills. Well, then whatever we produce on top of that, we're sharing out of that. So I've got one client that shares actually 25% of on the actual profit. So let's say it's $50,000 and the team produced $60,000 that month. He takes $2,500 of that and then distributes it evenly among the team members. So it can be very lucrative. One of the things that's nice about it is, let's say we hire a new person. The team says, we just can't handle this schedule. It's too much. We got to have an additional person. Great. We will hire an additional person. But that person cost me $3,000 a month. With all the taxes and all of that, she cost me $3,000 a month. So now our new BAM is $53,000. It's not $50,000 anymore. So now we got to produce $53,000, and that means if you want to make money, we're going to have to work harder. It does put the employee in a more of a state of understanding about the cost of running the practice. It's real easy for team members to go, oh, we just need another person. We just got to have another person. You can have another person, but it's essentially going to cost you because you're going to have to produce more. The practice is going to have to produce more to make it make sense. So that is a strategy that works well. That can be collection based as well. It's so much easier to focus on collections monthly than daily. Daily, it's impossible. There's no way to do it. But monthly, you could certainly say, okay, if we collect more than $53,000, then whatever we've collected, I share a certain percentage of that. So that's one of the more popular ones. You can do that quarterly as well. Quarterly is my least favorite bonus plan. The reason that people do quarterly is because they don't trust. They trust that 1 month is going to be good, and then 1 month is going to be dismal, and then the next month is going to be great, and they don't want to pay out for inconsistencies. They'd rather see how the practice did over a quarterly. But quarterly is just so hard for an employee to actually
motivation-wise
mentally know. It's nice when the bonus hits, but they don't know what they did to help hit that or not hit that. So quarterly would be my least favorite. Daily is my favorite, obviously, as we've talked about. Monthly, I think, can work, especially if we still have a daily focus on it. Like, hey guys, almost like I think of like the thermostat things, it's like, this is where we're at. This is how far we have to go. We have to be talking about it daily. And what can we do today that gets us closer to that monthly goal? And I would still break it down into a daily number. Like if we want to hit $50,000, then that means for the 10 days that we're working this month, we've got to produce $5,000 so that we know how far off we are from that monthly goal. So there's even still with the monthly, there's a daily component to it that we have to have because most people don't project forward and can do the math to figure out what's necessary. So those would be a couple of other bonus ideas. Any other comments that you want to make on either positive production things or the disciplinary side of it?
I think one thing that, as you're talking about the quarterly and, I like that because it puts into perspective the overhead, which is one thing that I feel like, I wish my team saw more of because they see, we may have produced this, but I'm like, yeah, but you guys, y'all's salaries and bonuses alone eat up this much.
Exactly.
And they have no idea of that. We've tried different ways to try to bring that to light here and there, but globally, overall, most of the team doesn't really understand it anyway.
Yeah.
So for me, I was going to try to do more of teaching, coaching, and going, hey. So really what I've done is the people that are looking at that and going, then those are the ones I sit with and say, well, true, you're right. We did collect this much, but do you realize we had to bring in 3 temps, and then we had to do this, and then we had to do that. So we really didn't make anything more. Oh. Mm-hmm. So instead of doing it office-wide,
the people who think that way
get
is
that
where
additional
information.
The thing I don't like about what you just said about the everybody gets distributed the 2,500. Well, that to me, again, it's that where I don't like that everybody gets the same amount, and not everybody worked equally. I just don't feel like they did.
Right.
Or, you were off on a key day, or you were out this week, and yet you're going to still get to share in this. It just makes it more, I think, less motivated. I, as a team member, would go, well, maybe I'll work less too, because she barely did anything and she gets the same amount that I do.
It's funny that you mentioned that. That just came up with a client of mine who had a part-time employee on the team. And this comes back to expectations like we talked about in the last episode. But the part-time employee, it's a profit sharing. It's a monthly profit sharing plan. Once we collect, it's a collection base. Once we collect this amount, anything on top of that, she shares, I can't remember the percentage. And so the part-time person is assuming I'm fully involved in that. And it's going to be split evenly. I mean, I'm a member of the team, and they didn't say anything about part-time status. I think, again, leadership is assuming, of course, you're not going to make the same amount as the person that's here 35 hours a week when you're here 20. Like, surely you assume that. She did not assume that. She assumed that she would get an even cut of what everybody else got. So
people, they're the worst.
So it was a major blow up, when she got her bonus check, and it was half of what everybody else got. She was, angry, very angry. So I tried to step in and mitigate that situation, and thought that I had, and she just kept stewing about it. So what they came up with is, they still do the profit sharing, but it's based on the number of days that you worked, because she does have, this particular practice has people that are there 5 days a week, although the practice is only open 4 days a week. And so there's people that are working 20 days a month, and there are people that are working 16 days a month. And so she divides
my problem still with that, though, is it's still, because I'll have people in the office that say, well, yeah, it takes her 5 days what I could do in 3.
That was exactly what the part-time person said.
Yeah.
She was like, well, yeah, I'm only here 20 hours, but I do the work of a full-time person in 20 hours a week. And our comment back to her was, yes, but when you're vacant from that front desk and other people are having to answer the phone and check people in because you're not there, yes, I understand you're very effective in your 20 hours, but somebody's having to cover for you the 20 hours that you're not here. But again, she did not see it that way. And so, again, this goes back to, I love the daily focus. There's a lot more nuanced things that we have to think about. To me, when it's daily, it's cut and dry. Did you work that day? No, you didn't. Okay, you don't get to draw that day. It's just so simple. The monthly, we have to figure out a way to make it fair. It's either evenly distributed no matter what, and then there's some unfairness involved in that. We have to figure out how many hours or how many days somebody worked, and then that doesn't feel fair because of the same comment you just made. Well, but yeah, I'm outworking everybody on the team. Is there seniority involved in that? There's just a lot more movement with a monthly that we have to think about. The other thing I would say is some practices who have the monthly bonus in place, they also have an annual that they're trying to attain. So part of the downfall to a monthly is, well, shoot, we hit it in January. We totally flopped in February. Yeah, we hit it in March, but February was so dismal which is why people try to do the quarterly. I hate quarterly, so I'll reiterate that again. So what some offices will do to try to mitigate these off months is they'll do an annual big bonus that they're trying to get. So monthly, if we collect this, there's a profit sharing on top of that. And then if the practice hits for the year this amount, then there's going to be either a fixed dollar amount extra, like, oh, wow, we hit $1 million this year. So everybody, if we collect $1 million by December 31st, then in January, everybody's going to get $300 extra, or whatever the amount. It can be a fixed amount, or it can be something that they're trying to earn towards. So I've got one office right now that they've got a monthly bonus plan in place, and then they've got an annual that they're trying to get to. If they make, it's basically the BAM for the year. Like, we have to produce this for the year, and if we produce $25,000 on top of that, that full $25,000 is going to a team trip, and we're going, to Costa Rica or some, all inclusive or something like that. So that's how they're mitigating it.
So to me, that sounds good in theory.
Yeah.
But what if there was somebody who just joined for the last 3 months of the year? And what if, and what if, and what if? So I can come up with 1,000 what ifs that make it very complicated for my little brain to figure out. The other thing, again, why I couldn't do orthodontics or crown and bridge, I can't wait.
Yeah.
What do you mean, a year? I can't. That's not going to happen. I want today.
Yeah.
And so, so for my personality type, that's really hard for me to get there. So that's what I love about the daily, because to me, yeah, we could have a flopped month, but it doesn't have to be a flopped month.
Yes.
It doesn't have to. If you get on the phones, you work the phones. If you are very detailed and make sure the patient has everything they need. You just got to work harder. And I think that was the mindset before, going, February's slow in a pedo office, so never mind. No, doesn't have to be. And we've got these 3 different avenues of where you could bonus to make it more consistent, even for yourself and your own bonus check at home.
Right.
And then it takes out, like you said, all the guesswork of who deserves what and favoritism and why it's stacked against me.
It's the simplest bonus plan that you can execute. It really is. It's very easy to implement.
I would say the one thing with the daily, and this may have not to do exactly what we've been talking about, but just a random tip here too. We have the pulling.
Yes.
And I don't know if my team does it. I think they do it. So instead of doing it every day, which is what we should do, and I don't know why we don't do that. I think it's just everybody's tired at the end of the day and whatever. It just became easier for the AR person to give us all the days we hit it the month before. So ours does end up being monthly, even though it's daily, but they
do the draws all at the same time. They do the draw monthly,
yeah. And so that gives the person in our office who organizes it the time to get the feedback on the numbers, and then also figuring out who was there, who wasn't there, and who gets to pull twice. And so lets her organize all of that. And then she's supposed to draw. Well, the downside is that there's not really, it kind of became, we have to draw. I'm like, we have to draw? I'll punch you in the face. Are you kidding me? Like, oh my gosh, you're making this sound like I'm giving you money. Yeah. And you're making it sound like it's a chore, which is really defeating. Yeah. And so I think part of it was the person organizing it was kind of, she's our kind of choleric and blah, blah, bam, bam, bam. One more thing to do. Hey, everybody come pull, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, stop, celebrate, make this fun, have money music playing on, all about the Benjamins as you're pulling, like something. We need to make this a fun party. Yeah. And I think part of that too, where there were people like, just pull for me. Yeah. And it's like, no, pull for yourself. So I think we just, mind blown that we have to now make the rule that, got to be present to win. Like, just mind blown. But no, we need to, because it's a gift to you. I don't have to do this. We're celebrating everybody's efforts.
And we want the emotion of it. So again, this goes back to, it's not just about the dollar amount of that token. We had this experience. We were all standing around this little canister that's all cool, cool decorated and fun, a fun little thing. And we're all celebrating as people are pulling their tokens, and there is a feeling that we want to create where it's not just about the money, but it's also about the event
at what we
of
achieved.
Pulling.
Yeah, and the event of pulling and cheering each other on. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, you just pulled a 50, girl! Yeah. Woo, can you take me out to dinner? Like, So I think that's one thing that we keep having to come back and revisit, because we'll do good for a couple months, and then it's like I can hear the moaning, and I'm like, I will take that bonus so fast. You ladies act like this is a chore. Forget it. You don't have to pull. Thank you.
Yeah. No, give me the can.
I'm pulling. The can. Yes, I will take this money. Actually, for our new patient bonus, where they're supposed to be accountable for counting up their own patients and submitting their sheet, and we've had it a couple of times where people won't submit their sheet on time. Mm-hmm. And again, I go back to, to, if you can't even submit your own sheet for your own bonus, well, no wonder you didn't send off the pre-D for the patient, or no wonder you didn't this. Like, there's no motivation for you. You're a lunk over there, like no accountability. And so and I pulled the snarky move. We have headsets in the office, and I want to say there was like $150 worth of bonuses that didn't get paid because these 4 people didn't submit their sheets. Yeah. Stupid. So each person, like, you were due $20, you were due $70, you were due $10. You don't want 10 free dollars? Yeah. Like, okay. So I did. I was like, thank you to each of you that care about me and let me keep that money to myself. And you forgoed your, I'm sure I said forgoed. You passed on your bonus and let me keep it because you didn't submit your sheet. You ladies are too sweet to me. Thank you so much. And you better believe the next 3 months, everybody submitted their sheets. Yeah. But I was like, again, back to accountability. Yeah. That's the whole point here. Yeah. And also, I am petty enough after giving all this money, but yes, I am petty enough. You are not pulling on the clock because that's what they were doing initially. I'm like, wait, I'm bonusing you and now I get to pay you to be on the clock to pull your bonus?
Like, heck no.
Yeah.
No, clock out.
Clock out.
The bonus is bonus enough. You don't have to ride the clock as well to get it done.
Which is what they were doing.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, I feel like, thankfully, between the last episode and this one, we've got a good collective conversation on bonuses. I hope it's been helpful. And again, perfect timing to think about what you're doing for 2022 bonuses. So now's the time to think about it.
Thanks for joining the conversation today. We hope that you are comforted in knowing that you are not alone, but we also hope that you're walking away with some really great tips and tricks to try in your practice. We value your feedback, so please take a few moments to rate and review the podcast. Finally, we want to make sure that we're covering the topics that matter to you. So track us down on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and let us know what topics you want us to cover. As always, please know that we are rooting for you today as you manage your dental drama.